Hi! So, I'm going to take a little break from playing Assassin's Creed 2, which I'm a little pissed off at some of you guys for not telling me how much fun this game is. Quite frankly, you let me down, and I don't know, I just thought you were better than that, so moving on. So it's been 2 days, or 3 days, 3 days, since I posted my own little video, sort of inviting everybody to kind of talk about what's all been on a lot of our minds, and the response has been awesome. So far, there's, I think, 182 video responses to that right now, and I was really happy that it got a lot of us talking, which was sort of the point. You know, I can't sit here and say that, like, here's this thing that I don't like, and, you know, this is what I think needs to happen, or you know, this is for sure the direction that we should be going, because I don't think anybody really has that answer. You know, I don't think anybody has the right to say that you know, it needs to happen like this. I think that it needs to come from everybody. It needs to come from the viewers. It needs to come from the video makers, and it needs to come from hub channels like Machinima. I think we all have to do our own little part to fix anything that we're not happy with. So I decided to pick 5 responses that I felt were the most articulate and eloquent and mature, and just generally made the best points. And so I'm going to put little annotations up here for you guys to check out these videos if you want to. And if you're watching from a mobile device, I will put them in the description also, because I know that you mobile dudes don't have annotations. Which, why do you only watch videos on YouTube from your iPhone or your Android? I don't understand that. Like, I have one. It's cool. Sometimes I do, but I don't know, maybe you don't have a computer or something like that. I'm just hating. Just forget that. So the first video that I wanted to show you guys is from Wrath. Now, Wrath is one of the smaller guys that makes videos for Respawn. And I wrote him a personal message, and I told him, you know, truthfully, I've never seen one of your videos before, because these days there's just way too many videos for me to watch, or anyone to watch all of them. But he made some really awesome points on the topic of how certain tactics really degrade the quality of the content, and how I'm just going to butcher his words. He was really intelligent, really articulate, and that's the first video that I want to pimp out. The second video is from 8 Thoughts, who I also had never seen anything by him before. Come to find out that he actually had a play for Modern Warfare 2 that made one of the top plays on Watch This Gaming way back in the day. But this dude, like, totally hit it on the nail. Wasn't even necessarily agreeing with everything that I was saying. In fact, he was actually calling into question bringing it up in the first place. You know, his basic point was that, like, why do we give a shit? Like, why don't we just let the douchebags be douchebags, and we'll worry about what we're doing, and the equation will just balance itself out eventually. But his was really short, sweet, and funny. And he ends it with a nice little sexy shot of him in his underwear, so be sure to check that out. The third one is coming from White Boy. White Boy is a guy that a lot of you guys are familiar with, posting just like monster scores. And he comes out and he says, you know, he's not the most objective player in the world. And he's called me out for, you know, for questioning posting gameplays like that before. And I don't expect everybody to agree with me. In fact, I totally respect his opinion. Me and him are going to do a video together for Camp Hutch. Fucking hopefully this week. It's been supposed to happen the last 2 weeks, but that dude sleeps in until like 4 p.m. So I blame you, White Boy, if you're watching this. But he makes some awesome points about how there's room for all kinds of players on YouTube, and that, you know, we shouldn't try and dictate you know, what the universal standard is for gameplay, and how it's really arrogant to do so, and how everybody just needs to relax. Him and 8 Thoughts kind of had like a similar thing going on there. The fourth video, I know I said that there was going to be 5, but I forgot about this guy, and I just remembered in my head, so there's going to be 6. The fourth video is coming from Ukrainian Limbs, and I it was like he called it like campfire talk with Ukrainian limbs, and he had like a little like fucking campfire lower third up here the whole time it was going, and he was another like older guy with like a really articulate point of view, and he was sort of he was touched on a lot of the same things that Rath did about how certain tactics that people take degrade the quality in the long run, and how it just doesn't really work out. So that's the next one. The next one is coming from Kyle, from FBS Kyle, and his was also really short. So if you're not in the mood for watching like a 10 or a 15-minute response video, he talked about a few things. But what I really liked, what he talked about, was when people have disputes on YouTube, and how he sees it as being essentially childish to make it like a public forum, which we all know that I'm guilty of doing every once in a while. I can get a little hot-headed. But he talked about like if he ever had a disagreement with Woody, that you would never know about it because he would just get on Skype or get on a phone and call him and settle it over the phone. And on that note, like I recently just made my my comments invisible on my profile. And I did that because if I ever get in an argument, which I really shouldn't be doing in the first place, but if I ever get in an argument, inevitably a lot of people that come from my channel or subscribe to my channel, they see that in my activity, and then they run to that video and they jump in the argument, and it's just, I feel like it's sort of irresponsible on my part to allow that to happen, even though I never really, like, I don't need people to talk for me. Like, I feel perfectly comfortable and confident whenever I have something to say, or if I think I have a point that I want to make. I don't need people coming in, and the fact that I can't avoid it at this point is a good indication that I should probably just disable that feature altogether. So that's what I did. In fact, there was a disagreement recently with a pretty well-known guy on Respawn, and it got kind of nasty on his end, and rather than take it personally, I reached out to him on Skype. I said, "Look, dude, if you're upset about something, I want you to talk to me about it, and I want to meet you halfway." And he told me what he didn't like about what I said, and or maybe the way that I act sometimes, and I agreed to alter some of my behavior. And then I told him, "Well, okay, now that we have that established, this is what I'd like to see happen from you." And he agreed to meet me halfway, and at the end of the conversation, we ended up nerding out and having like a 30-minute talk about Black Ops and what both him and I are looking forward to. So really, like at the end of the day, there's literally never been a single argument that I've ever had on YouTube that hasn't been solved privately between me and the other party or parties. And I was really happy to see that, like, oh, this guy isn't a giant cock. He's just, he's a little hot-headed like me, and maybe he said some things that were out of line, but we all do. And it was cool to see. I like being proven wrong sometimes, and it's actually really cool when you can have an argument with somebody on the one hand, and then turn around and find out that they're not that bad, and that you actually have a lot in common with them. So, and the last video that I want to talk about is Ken Burton's response, and Ken brought up some really interesting points, and he focused sort of like on the money aspect of things, and well, no, he didn't. He talked about a lot of things, but what I want to focus on with what he said was, he pointed out that I'm in an extremely unique position where I don't have a kid or kids, and I'm not married, and as far as like not being paid for views, like and being a salaried worker, I just I have the luxury of not worrying about that, and so it's almost inappropriate for me to even comment on that kind of behavior, which again, he wasn't quite agreeing with me on a lot of the things that I was saying, but because I think it's a valid point, and because I don't think that my point is, or that my point of view is the only one that's worth taking a look at, I thought that his was really eloquent too. So if you guys want to check that one out, go ahead. And on that topic, I think that, like, I want you guys to know that, where do I want to start? Well, first of all, I want to start by saying that, like, I'm hearing a lot of people complain about Black Ops Theater Mode, how they think that that's just going to have, like, oh great, more people are going to be making videos, and I think that that's just, people are saying that they think it's just going to ruin the video scene altogether, and I can't help but think that that's an extremely selfish point of view to take, especially if you're a video maker, and like way especially if you're a director on a machinima who makes money off of ad revenue, because at that point you're saying, we have enough people here, so even if you want to get involved, just move along, because there's too many of us already and there's no room for you here. And I personally think that that's just like the wrong attitude to take. I think that there's a misconception about how the way that things used to be, or the golden days, and it's actually really funny to use that phrase, the golden days, when it comes to YouTube, because this was 2 years ago, it's like this was over 2 years ago, and like that's not a long time, like really, we're really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that long, and I don't think things truthfully are that much different from when they were before, with regards to, like, if you want to start a channel, you got to worry about kind of working your way up, and now there's like a billion guys, so it just makes the little guy's job that much harder. But I started my channel from nothing, like literally nothing. For my first like 3 months of making videos, I didn't even have 100 subscribers, and it took me a year to get to a point where I had 8,000 subscribers, and that's the point that Machinima contacted me. And I think the funnest part about starting a channel and making videos is the fact that it takes work, and it's fun to watch your video go from nothing to something. And as far as worrying that, the little guys who don't deserve recognition are going to get lost in the shuffle, I don't believe that that's true, actually. I think that everybody who deserves recognition eventually gets it, but it does not happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for me. A lot of guys think that, but it's not true. It did not happen overnight for me. And one thing that I valued more than anything else, one thing that I truthfully miss these days is that, there's a lot of you, and I do respond to personal messages, and I do get feedback on videos when people ask me to, but I can't do it for all of them, because there's just a lot now. There's just a lot of you, and don't get me wrong, I'm totally grateful for that. I think it's awesome. But back then, I had the luxury of responding to literally every comment that I wanted to, or every private message that I wanted to. And then, one thing that I forgot to talk about with both Ken and White Boy said that they made the points that there's nothing wrong with networking, and that there's nothing wrong with money. And I couldn't agree more with that. I don't think networking is a bad thing. I don't think collaborating or box for box is a bad thing. I was more making like reference to like the paid box for boxes. Like if you give me $50, I will put you in my box for box thing, and that hits on the point that both Wrath and Ukrainian Lim talked about, where he says once you start doing that, then quality is not an issue. You're purely using status as a catalyst to propel people that paid to get to that point. And in that regard, I think that it's a little unfair to the little guys who can't really afford to make those kind of payments to the bigger channels. And quite honestly, I think that the bigger channels should be pimping out the little guys anyways. That's the kind of attitude that I had the entire time. Like, I don't know, a lot of you old school guys that have been with the channel for a long time remember a guy named Beyond Compare X or Beyond, and at the time I had like 500 subscribers and he had like 12, and I was stoked to have him on my friends list. I loved his videos, and I approached him and I was like, hey man, I think you're great, and I want my guys to see what you can do, because you're 10 times better than me. And if the point of making videos is to show kick-ass stuff, which is I think why we all buy a capture card, it's like we do something awesome in a video game and we want people to see it, then why not talk about how awesome you are, because you're doing what I'm doing, but you're doing it way better than I am. So networking and box for box, and those aren't bad things. And money isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be concerned about money, or it's not a bad thing to want your videos to get a lot of views so you can make money. That's what I did. Like I'd be a massive hypocrite if I said that money was a bad thing and that I think it's evil. I mean, this is my job. I make money doing this. But I mean, in the long run, I think, I think we all have concerns about quality, and on that topic, I think that you guys should know that Machinima is hearing you loud and clear, and particularly, I don't like that word, particularly last week, production and programming. There's two sides of Machinima. There's production and then there's programming. So production are guys like me and Sark and Scene Anners and Wood, the editor. And programming are guys like Anthony and Jay. Those are the guys that decide the kind of content that go up on the channel. Production and programming have been collaborating a lot in the last week, addressing the issue that you guys feel is a concern for you, which is this concept of quantity over quality, and how it's really hard for a lot of you guys to keep up, considering that there's like a lot of videos in your sub box these days. And on that note, I want to talk about the Machinima Respawn Facebook application, which is something that I've wanted to talk to you guys about for a long time. And I know this video is really long, but this is this is stuff that I feel I want to get across to you guys. But the biggest complaint that I hear, bar none, about Machinima is sub box spam. So on YouTube, people get pissed off when they see just video after video after video from Machinima Respawn in their subscription box. And one of the things, there's a lot of things that the Respawn app does, and it's been in development for almost a year, by the way. So this is not something to be taken lightly. We are putting our full support behind this application, and I fucking love it personally. And I'm not just saying that because people ask me to tell you guys that I love it. But one of the things that you can do with the Facebook application is that you can filter out what kind of videos you want to see. So if you only want to see videos from Tabe or Scene Anners, if you only want to see the Respawn show that me and Sark do twice a week, you can do that. You can filter it out, and you can sort of subscribe to individual people. That is the biggest thing that you guys have been asking for since day one, and I'm happy to say that we're able to do that for you now. We're treating this Facebook application as basically, it definitely is a part of Facebook, but it's really almost like our own website. And it's true that we have a website, but that's not really our home. And a lot of you guys know that, or a lot of you guys have noticed that. So yeah, that's just one thing that the Facebook application can do, but there's a lot more things that we'll be talking to you guys very shortly about. And don't take it lightly. I would really, if I were you, give this thing a shot, because chances are it's really going to address like almost 100% of the biggest concerns that I see coming from you guys, which I pay attention to, which we pay attention to, which we care about. So other than that, I'm done. I'm going to go play some Assassin's Creed 2. Feel free to leave a comment. If you have any more feedback, let me know, let us know, and I'm going to go.